As you know, we've been going through Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People for the last 7 weeks, and today is the last session on Habit 7. But let me recall the 7 habits of highly effective people. First habit 1 is be proactive. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Habit 3, put first things first. Habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Habit 6, synergize. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. The first 3 habits are what we call private victories that grow from dependence to independence. And then the rest of the habits are what we call public victories as you grow in interdependence with other people, with the public. Okay, so today we're talking about habit 7, sharpen the saw. Okay. This is the habit of renewal. It means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset that you have, you. Once upon a time, a very strong woodcutter asked for a job in a timber merchant, and he got it. The pay was really good, and so was the work conditions. For those reasons, the woodcutter was determined to do his best. His boss gave him an axe and showed him the area where he was supposed to work. The first day, the woodcutter cut and brought 18 trees. Congratulations, the boss said. Go on that way. Very motivated by the boss's words, the woodcutter tried harder the next day, but he could only bring 15 trees. The next day, he tried even harder, but he could bring only 10 trees. Day after day, he was bringing less and less trees. I must be losing my strength, the woodcutter thought. He went to the boss and apologized, saying that he could not understand what was going on. When was the last time you sharpened your axe? The boss asked. Sharpen? I had no time to sharpen my axe. I have been very busy trying to cut trees. Well, when you reflect on that, you realize that our lives are like that. We sometimes get so busy that we don't take time to sharpen the axe. In today's world, it seems that everyone is busier than ever, especially with social media, with the internet, but less happy than ever. Why is that? Could it be that we have forgotten how to stay sharp? There's nothing wrong with activity and hard work, but we shouldn't get so busy that we neglect the truly important things in life, like our personal life, taking time to get closer to our Creator, giving more time for our family, taking time to read, etc. We all need time to relax, to think and meditate, to learn and grow. If we don't take time to sharpen the axe, we will become dull and lose our effectiveness. After I share this, really that's all there is to say about habit 7. You just understand the logic of having to sharpen the saw, especially of those of you who have tried to cut meat with a blunt knife or cut wood with a blunt axe or blunt saw. But let me spend some time, since I've got some time, the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes, elaborating a bit on sharpening the saw. Okay. Habit 7 is not wishful thinking or emotional. Habit 7 is actually science. It recognizes the second law of thermodynamics, entropy, which says that everything breaks down. Things go from a state of order to disorder. And anyone who's kept a garden would understand that. Now, so sharpening the sword is actually about survival and success. Okay, let's talk about survival. It's about not breaking down. While we are investing time in self-care, may seem to curtail your productivity in the short term. It will greatly enhance it in the long term so that you won't ultimately be sidelined by physical sickness, mental collapse, and just plain exhaustion. What about success? Sharpening the sword is actually about increasing your production capability. Stephen Covey doesn't talk about the survival part of sharpening the sword. He talks about the results part, the production capability. And you increase your production capability by continuous improvement and continuous learning. So this is a Stephen Covey term, continuous improvement and continuous learning. And I learned that term actually from Tony Robbins 19 years ago when I attended his Unleash the Power Within You. And he talked about CANI, C-A-N-I, continuous and never-ending improvement. When you sharpen the saw, you actually increase your leverage. Leverage is a term that we use in network marketing a lot. Okay, when you sharpen the saw, you increase your leverage such that 1 unit of effort can produce multiple units of productivity. I'm using Zoom today because I want to share this illustration with you. Okay, so let me share what I mean here. So normally 1 unit of effort will produce 1 unit of productivity. Okay, but if you push the fulcrum from the center to the end, you'll find that 1 unit of effort can move 100 units of productivity. Okay, that's actually huge leverage when you sharpen the sword. Saw, not sword. Okay. Now, to do that, it means having a balance in 4 dimensions of your life. Okay. Body, mind, spirit, and relationships. Okay. Body refers to physical, mind refers to mental, spirit is spiritual, and relationships are the social, emotional aspects. Let's talk about physical. Okay. We're very familiar with physical, but it's about exercise, it's about nutrition, and it's about stress management. So the physical part of this is rest. Okay, so sometimes when you're working too hard, we say, go and have fun, rest, take a break. Okay, that's about managing stress. Okay. Mental. Okay, mental is reading. Okay, reading outside of what you normally read, so you have a better, bigger perspective. Reading to get better at your work. Having study groups, okay, where you share ideas. Attending courses, attending seminars. Okay, and of course, practice visualization. This is your definite purpose statement. This is your self-confidence formula. This is practicing habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. Okay, that's the mental game. Spiritual. You know, Martin Luther once said, I have so much to do today. I'll need to spend another hour on my knees. So, you know, for those of us who have a creator, who worship God or believe in God, that's all. That spiritual is very obvious. Okay, it's the time that you spend with God, your quiet time, okay, and all the other activities that go towards building a relationship with God. Okay. Stephen Covey also talks about, under spiritual, he talks about your value system. Just keep examining what is your value system. Okay. Then he recommends working on your mission statement. Okay. Those are internal soul things, spiritual things. He says, read inspiring literature. Okay. And he says, educate your conscience. Educate your conscience means listen to that inner voice in you and respond to it. Don't ignore it. Okay. Learn to trust your intuition. Okay. That's actually God speaking to you. And he talks about winning the private victories. In the example of getting up early, he says he hates getting up early, and he exercises an hour. He doesn't enjoy exercising also, but he does it because it's about actually early at the start of the day, winning the private victories, learning how to be strong in the hard moments. That's a spiritual thing, learning how to be strong in the hard moments. Okay? And so for him, getting up early, exercising, these are ways. And you know, for me, that's a daily battle too. The exercise, okay, but I get victory over myself. Now, these first 3 dimensions, physical, mental, and spiritual, are what we call your private victories. The 4th dimension is about your public victories, and that's the social, emotional area. Okay, so social is relationships with others. Okay, it is the practice of habits 4, 5, and 6. Habit 4, think win-win. Habit 5, seek first to understand and then be understood. Habit 6, synergize. Okay. The emotional part is about yourself, your relationship with yourself. Okay, I won't elaborate on this at this stage. Okay, and you recognize that as you work on sharpening the saw, it will require you to actually continue to practice the other 6 habits, and so you will become more and more effective as you increase your capacity to produce and handle the challenges around you. And as you live this balanced life, which is getting more and more results, like a balanced wheel is moving faster and faster, it actually leads to a virtuous cycle. You get better and better. But I think, you want to recognize 2 challenges in sharpening the saw. First of all, it's a quadrant 2 activity. Quadrant 2, remember, in the time management matrix, important but not urgent. So it needs to be scheduled in. You need to schedule in, okay? Number 2, feeling good doesn't just happen. It actually takes effort. It takes a lot of effort before you see and reap the results. And Stephen Covey shares the story of the Chinese bamboo. So it's Stephen Covey that shares the story of the Chinese bamboo. And when he shares the story of the Chinese bamboo, the fact that for 5 years you don't see anything, it's growing all below ground, and suddenly in that 90 days, it grows 80 feet. Okay. And by the way, when he was sharing the illustration about the Chinese bamboo, he was talking about working on the social part, about fixing a broken relationship. Or I guess it would also apply to building new relationships. For example, on social media or with new business partners that you have. How do you build and fill that emotional bank account? Abraham Lincoln said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." So this was someone who has lived life and he knows really the secret to being effective, okay? Working on yourself. Now in September, Tony Robbins will be running his most powerful basic program, Unleash the Power Within You, doing it virtually. And I really feel that this is a God-given opportunity for us, our team, to sharpen our saw, for you to sharpen your saw. And you will be doing it with so many of our team members. And that will create an environment of mutual encouragement, of excellence, so that we can maintain this process of canny, continuous and never-ending improvement. Okay, at least until the end of 2020. So you may want to begin with the end in mind, but I say just let's look at doing this in September. You do this just for another 3 months. For 2020, 3 months is a good time to practice certain habits, just like in TR90. Okay, so sharpen the saw. Okay, very, very important, because you are just so good, but it gets dull with work.